I'm gonna make some baked beans today. I already have 8 pieces of bacon. The pre-cooked Costco bacon is what we like. I've talked about it before. It's easy for school days, for my kids, for breakfast. You just throw it in the microwave and on some paper towels and heat it up real quick. Anyways, I chopped up about 8 pieces of bacon. I'm gonna let this cook down and get the rest of the fat out. The reason why I didn't use fresh bacon is because it kicks out a ton of fat after it's all been rendered down, and I just didn't want to deal with it. I do want a little bit of fat because I'm gonna throw in a whole medium diced onion and 2 jalapenos into this, saute that up, and then I'm actually just adding 2 already existing baked beans, but you know, I add quite a bit of stuff in it and makes it taste better in my opinion. But we'll see how it is, and then I'm gonna barbecue up some hot dogs and burgers tonight for dinner, and so we'll see how all this turns out. All right, sweet. So that's what our bacon looks like, and I just, like I said, wanted to get the rest of the fat out, starting to crisp up a little bit. I do like my baked beans with a little bit of crispy bacon. You know, my wife's father-in-law just threw raw bacon into a pan full of beans and stuff and just kind of cooked it that way, and it was just like rubbery and chewy, and I just did not enjoy that. So I always always cook my bacon off. All right, so like I said before, I have about a whole medium diced onion and 2 fairly large jalapenos that I'm just gonna add to this. And like I said, I didn't want to use fresh bacon just because, I don't know, I didn't want to mess with the grease or anything else. And it has a perfect amount of bacon grease in here to be able to cook all of our onions and jalapenos. So I'm going to cook these down for a little bit, and bacon's going to continue to keep cooking. I might add just a swirl of avocado oil. I'm not going to do that right now. Just add a little bit more. Perfect. Excellent. So I'm going to cook these down until the onions are translucent, and we'll be back. All right, so our onions are just about on the verge of going to translucent, and again, they're gonna still cook in the beans. I actually simmer my beans on low, you know, for at least an hour, if not a couple of hours, just to get all those flavors to kind of meld together and come together. You guys can do what you want. I understand too that the amount of onion to bean ratio is about 1 to 1, honestly, but you know, I like a lot of onions in my baked beans, and you know, you guys can choose to add a whole one, half a one, quarter one, not add any of these ingredients. This is just the way that I like to make my baked beans, but it's looking good, it's smelling good. I'm gonna go ahead and add in some roasted garlic paste, and I don't want a ton. I'm just gonna do a couple squirts like that. Yeah, it looks like dog shit, I know. Yikes. I probably should have not have filmed that. Anyways, some squirts of roasted garlic, and then I'm gonna give this a stir. I turn the heat down to low because I don't want my garlic piece to burn, and you can see that beautiful fond on the bottom of the onions. That will get up here once we add some liquid to it. I just want to give it a quick stir. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my beans, and again, these are pre-canned beans. You guys, I'm sure, can come up with recipes or have recipes that call from everything from scratch. Not to steal a line from my all-time favorite celebrity chef, but I'm just kicking these up a notch. And I'm adding a couple cans of it. Perfect. So I'm gonna give that a quick stir. Like I said, make sure that we're on low heat, because I am, again, gonna let this simmer for about 2 hours, honestly, and get all those flavors to come together. Typically too, I add in molasses, and we did not have any molasses, so I'm gonna substitute with some Mrs. Buttersworth, and we'll see how that turns out. To this, I'm gonna add a couple shakes of white pepper. Not a ton. Just a little bit of cayenne, because I'm actually gonna add some hot honey to this. So I don't want it to be overpowering. Some barbecue rub. Just a few dashes of that. Again, these are all already going to be fairly salty from the bacon and whatnot. And then some smoked paprika. Just some random chili powders that I had in the cupboard. So just to give you an idea of what I'm using. And then just a few shakes of those. Because why the hell not, right? A couple dashes of hot sauce. A squirt of yellow mustard. Not tons, because you don't want it to be overpowering. The mustard really stands out. Like I said, some Mrs. Buttersworth, because I didn't have any molasses, so I'm improvising. Add a few swirls of that. That looks good. Add in my hot honey. And yeah, these beans are typically spicy and sweet, which is how I actually prefer my barbecue sauce as well. And so a few good swirls of the hot honey. We'll taste all this and add as needed. And then, let's see. So our brown sugar was harder than shit. And so I'm stuck with using chunks, and so I'm gonna add just in a few chunks. These will break down. The brown sugar isn't bad. We just didn't put it in a container when we brought it home from the store, so now it's just chunks, but it'll all break down as it simmers. I would say maybe like a cup. Well, we'll start with that, and if I need to add more sweetness or sweetener, I'll probably add some more Mrs. Buttersworth. But I'm gonna give this a stir here and get that on a smaller burner and then put it on low, like I said, so it can start its simmering process. Sweet, so I got all that stirred in, and like I had mentioned before, these are probably gonna simmer on low for about 2 hours, give or take, probably even longer than that. I'm not gonna start barbecuing burgers until about 5 or so. What is it, 3:28 right now? These are gonna be thick, sweet, spicy, and delicious. My wife's not a huge fan of like runny baked beans, which I don't get. I mean, which I get because you don't want that shit like, you know, getting all over your plate and stuff. Hopefully not too salty. I didn't add a ton of salt other than the barbecue rub, and I was just using the Killer Hogs barbecue rub. And so I can always add to it, but I figure the bacon's gonna add quite a bit of salt as well. But like I said, these are gonna go for and take a nap for a little while. Excellent. Fired up the Weber Performer and threw some sliced jalapenos on with some butter and some seasonal. Threw my kids' hot dogs on. It's like every time I freaking show a grilling video, I'm cooking hot dogs for my damn kids. Apparently they don't like homemade burgers, so. And I'm not using anything special today. I'm just using pre-pattied burgers, like 80-20, I want to say. You know, I have ground my own meat, like short rib and ribeye and something else, like chuck or something, to make my own patties. That's labor intensive, and today I just want to chill out and watch the game, Game 3 of the Celtics Heat tonight, and go Celtics. We are grilling up some jalapenos, like I said, with just some butter and some seasonal, and I'm gonna throw some burgers on here with some grilled onions and whatnot. We like to grill our onions whole and get a nice char on them, and then throw them on a burger patty. Probably throw some pepper jack cheese and some bacon on it. It'll be delicious, but we'll get going. The hot dogs and jalapenos are starting to look really good. I used to have a gas grill, and I didn't really use it a lot. To me, it's worth it to plan and time everything to start your charcoal and cook on charcoal, in my opinion. I do have a Traeger, and I use it seldomly, really to do like ribs and stuff like that. But there's nothing like a hot dog or a hamburger, in my opinion, that has been cooked on a bed of charcoal on a Weber. At that, I freaking love Webers. I have Weber just about everything. I had a Weber gas grill, I have a Weber Smoky Mountain. In my humble opinion, nothing beats Weber, kind of like Trijicon. And pull these hot dogs off so my wife can start feeding my kids. And I'm just using Nathan's. Love Nathan's. Turn this around, get a good char on them, and I toasted some buns and I didn't film it. My grill is fucking hot as shit, which I want for burgers because I want to sear them on both sides quick. Same with the onions. But went ahead and threw my buns on, got those toasted. You can see my jalapenos are fucking looking amazing. Sorry, I just had a sneeze fit. Let's stir those around a little bit. Yeah, these are looking good. I'm rotating my tin foil so everything gets, well, hopefully cooked as evenly as possible. Like I said, my fucking grill is hotter than shit. If I had to say, it's probably running about 700 degrees right now, and that's no shit, and it's pretty hot. It's windy here right now too, and so yeah, everything's like cooking super fast. And I have the bottom vent completely open on the bottom of my grill, and I just sprinkled some seasoned all salt on the top of my onion. Whew. But yeah, you can see our onions are starting to look really good too. Get those on some nice heat and pull those off, and then I'm gonna throw my burgers on. Our burgers aren't gonna take super long. We have like half-pound burgers, I want to say, and then just like quarter-pounders that I'm gonna throw on. Again, I didn't grind the meat myself and all that other stuff. I have in the past, and it's totally worth it. It's just labor intensive. Like I said, we've had a super busy day today, so I'll get these cooking and done, and we'll be back. Awesome. So I have my pre-pattied patties on, and we again have half-pounders and quarter-pounders, I believe. I went ahead and just seasoned them before I threw them on with seasonal, and then topped them with seasonal once I threw them on. Again, I could have went through the whole trouble of making my own patties and stuff, which I have before, and it's totally worth it if you have the time. But again, we had a busy day today, so I went the cheap-ass route. Yikes, that smoke is horrendous. And that's one of the downfalls with using charcoal, obviously, is that, you're using open flame as opposed to, well, I mean, charcoal flame as opposed to like gas flame where you can like turn it down. I do have my vents open all the way underneath because I just really want to just sear all the juices and whatnot inside the burgers. But hopefully these turn out delicious. We'll see. All right. So one burger got a little toasty, but that's okay. I'll fucking eat the shit out of that all day long. You can see our quarter pounders are just about done. Again, we're going to use Costco bacon, the pre-cooked stuff, just to top with these, as well as some pepper jack cheese. So let me do that real quick, and I'm going to turn down my vent so these have time to cook or melt the cheese and cook the bacon a little bit. All right, so this is the results of everything. We have our baked beans here with our jalapeno, onions, and pre-canned, pre-made baked beans, but I just spruced them up a little bit. We have our prefabricated burger patty, which, it is what it is. I'm excited to eat it. It looks damn good to me. We have bacon underneath the pepper jack cheese, as you can see, and pepper jack, a huge slice of tomato, a huge slice of grilled onion, and then some grilled jalapenos, if you can see that, and then ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard. And then my wife actually made a tortellini pasta salad with the mini pepperonis. No, we didn't actually microwave them this time. Miniature cheese tortellinis with some celery, green onion, olives, the Olive Garden Italian dressing, Parmesan cheese. Maybe she didn't add that this time. And some diced jalapeno as well. And so, like I'd mentioned before, go Celtics.